Okay, so now we got using the timeline. Okay, so we've got the tools down, we got the interface, and now we need to learn how to do different kind of animations inside the timeline. So let's look what I got going on here. I'm going to take this little divider bar down just a little bit so you can see all the layers. First of all, before I describe these things, the thing that you want to show the furthest back is the one that you want to have on the most bottom layer. So you kind of look at these layers as actual layers. So here, if here's the ground, and you got some clouds, you want it over here, and then you want the person, you want to have everything to where, you know, in the sequence of what you actually want to show that's on top, to make it kind of look as more realistic as possible and actually have that layer show. Okay, I also have them all locked because when I was drawing, I didn't want to actually have my drawings that I did on one layer interfere with another layer, so I locked it as I created it. I got the ground, I had the sun on the ground, which is this area right here. This is not the most fantastic animation that you've ever seen or have I created, but we'll get into more like cooler details and, you know, really meticulous designs further on when we get more familiar with Flash. The clouds and then my guy. Now you'll notice there's different things going on here. This is all just gray. There's no animation on the ground. The ground is just going to stay there. My sun on the ground is going to move a little bit. The sun moves a little bit, and the clouds move a little bit, but my guy moves every single frame. These right here, and this guy, and this guy, this is 3 different types of animation, and we're going to go through them all right now. This is a motion tween, this is a shape tween, and this is a step-by-step onion skin animation. And this guy right here is my playhead. So where I move him is where it's going to show inside the timeline. Now, Flash, the default that we have is 12 frames per second. That means that if we want something to happen for 2 seconds, we need how many frames? So smart, 24 frames. So I made 24 frames, which is a 2-second animation of this guy just running across, and I gave it a little bit of animation with the sun, the glare, and the clouds moving together to make it look kind of like he's gallivanting over the hill. So let's break it down and kind of see how we did this. So if you don't have Flash open yet, go ahead and open it up, and we'll do this together. I have a blank document. I haven't done anything to it yet at all. Okay, to create the background, we hit Command-J or Control-J on the PC, and it's going to bring up the document properties. All I did is I selected the background color, found a nice sky color, and press OK. Now there's different things that you can do. Well, you can make a gradient color. Actually, let's do that. That sounds like a cool idea. So we'll make layer sky color. And we'll take the rectangle tool, and maybe we'll get this blue gradient, and we'll just create a rectangle. So now instead of 5 layers, we're going to have 6 layers. Well, you're probably saying, that doesn't look too much like a sky, and I would agree with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it up. This is how you change it. Go ahead and click on it. You'll know it's selected by having that gradient pattern. Go to your color mixer. If you don't have this open, by the way, you need to have it open right now and kind of for the duration of what we're doing. So have your color mixer open and go from type radial to linear. So now you see already that it's changed. We also want to do another thing. You see these little spots right here? This is showing you what end and start point is for your actual gradient color. You can actually click on them and change that actual coloring. So we'll make that the light part, and we'll click, instead of black, maybe we'll choose a nice sky blue. Yeah, maybe a little lighter. Okay, make sure that you have it highlighted or it won't show up. Okay, I'm going to hit Command minus or Control minus on the PC, and I want to change the direction of the gradient. Now, how I can do that is with this. This is the Gradient Transform tool. You'll see now that I have a line edging it. This will allow me to stretch it out. This will allow me to move the inside of the actual gradient, and this will allow me to rotate it. So that's exactly what we want to do right now. So go ahead and click on this. I'm going to drag it up. Now we're getting a little bit more of a sky look. And I can actually squish it down to where most of the gradient fits inside this little area. Okay. Now we got the sky color. Now we don't want to mess that up. That looks pretty cool. Right now it kind of looks kind of silly, but you'll see in context what we're going to do. So lock that layer by clicking on the lock area of that layer. Now we're going to create a new layer. Come right here to this little icon with a folded piece of paper with a plus sign on it. Insert layer. It's going to default to layer 2. Go ahead and double click on that, and we're going to call it ground. We're kind of going to do the similar thing that we did with the sky, but a little bit different. Take your rectangular tool, and if I'm going too fast or too slow, go ahead and fast forward, play, pause, rewind, whatever you guys want to do on your own pace. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. Alright, I'm going to select green, and I'm just going to make a rectangle. Actually, I went ahead a little ahead of myself, and I'll tell you a reason why. I'm going to make two different shapes, so go ahead and make a solid color. My bad for that, but you'll see why. Now I'm going to click a rectangle, and now I want to make a circle. And I want it to make it look like it was the hill. Now if I did that with a gradient, it would have chopped it and made a gradient on the square and gradient on the circle, and it wouldn't have blended as nice as it is going to here. So now I'm going to take all that together, because once you deselect and you put two shapes on top of each other, it now becomes one solid object. Alright, so now I'm going to select the gradient. Now I hope you remember what to do here. If you don't, I'm going to go over it again. Okay, so you got to select it. You come over to your color palette. Go to linear. It's going to change the pattern. And we're going to go to our gradient transform tool. And we're going to click, instead of going up, we're going to go down this time. Alright. And we're going to take this squared object and we're going to bring it in towards its center. Maybe not as much. And we can actually bring this down here. Okay. So let's zoom in a little bit. Now it's starting to look like we have like an area. Like the person's going to be going over this hill. Okay, well that's enough for that. Let's lock that layer. And let's make a sun. So I clicked on new layer. Layer 3. I double clicked. I'm going to call it sun. Here's where we're going to start doing some animation, but we're not going to animate it just yet. This is one of our first animation projects. So take your circle tool. In your fill, let's select a yellow for the sun. And just draw a sun. And I might actually have this a little bit further this way. You can put whatever you want. And the person doesn't have to run this way. You can run the other way. Whatever you feel, it's totally fine. Alright, so just keep that there for now. That's all we're going to do for right now. Add a new layer. And the reason why we're making so much layers is because if you want something to animate, you can't have more than one object on that layer and animate them all together. So you got to have each particular one on its own separate layer to get a more effective and accurate animation. Okay, this one's going to be called clouds. And before you go on and draw anything, let's lock the sun layer. Just for right now, we're going to actually go back and animate it. But there's a reason why we're going to just keep stacking and creating the different objects. So now I'm going to go back to the circle tool, but I'm going to select white. And you can do clouds however you want. This is just a simple, easy cartoon way of creating cartoons, is just put a combination of circles together.